其余的都是平常的电影，像《Herbie Rides Again》、《La Notte》和《Monty Python and the Holy Grail》。
All right, my loyal Bomb Squad brethren, it is with my decree that I am now officially, the ruler of Bomb Squad. They were very, very, very happy to be, the leader now. I'm glad it was unanimous. Besides, Austin, but we just took him out back. But for my first decree, we're gonna only talk about movies that I like because I like talking about movies that I like. So we're gonna start right now. Welcome to the Bomb Squad Matinee. I am Sir Cody Sweezo of Yoshington, and I'm here with my loyal subjects, such as
Tanner Richard Kraft, Sir Tanner Richard Kraft, the big dicked.
We're off to a great start.
I went for it.
Sir Rein, the on time.
I am Sir did not appear in this movie because I wasn't born yet, but you can call me Joseph Frenick.
I know what you're thinking. This guy's just gonna go for the lowest hanging fruit. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Because I am an enchanter, and there are some who call me Dim.
Yeah, and we're talking about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But of course, I gotta ask you guys a very important question. What is your favorite color? No, I'm just kidding. That's too easy. I want to know I want to know what movie has made you laugh the hardest. It could be this one, it could be any movie. I just want to know what's made you crack down laughing.
You were about to say cry.
Cry laugh. Well, no, not this episode. But yeah, Tanner, start us off.
Oh, me? No. Rein, you go.
Yeah, Rein, you go.
Sure. I did not. Did I think very thoroughly through this answer? No, not quite. And also, is this movie like the movie that would make me laugh the hardest now? Probably not. I haven't seen it since I was a teenager. But like thinking back on it, I think the movie that I laughed more than, I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a very tough question, but maybe This Is the End, when I saw it in high school. That the Seth Rogen comedy where all the celebrities, they're just playing themselves during Judgment Day. And I don't know, I guess just good memory. I don't know, maybe it's just more good memories than the movie itself. I don't remember what year it came out. I want to say I was in high school, and me and my friend, I think we snuck into the theater. I don't know, because we weren't old enough technically to get to see it since it was rated R. But thankfully I remember there was this middle-aged couple that were like, hey, if anyone asks, you're our kids. And I'm like, okay, cool people. Great crowd. I think that's a big part why this is my answer. Usually, I don't know, I think when we think of great movies to watch in theater, I feel the first thing is a good big blockbuster, but a great comedy. It was a full house too. I think that really added to it, just everyone else was really vibing with the movie. It's also really funny from what I remember. I feel the Seth Rogen comedies probably more hit than miss for me, but not I don't know. And there's comedies I like more. Superbad, I guess, something similar to that. But I just know I was crying, laughing harder than anything else. I want to say during that, and I guess I explained my reasons why. The movie's funny. I don't know, it's kind of hard to really. I don't know. It was definitely they cooked better on that one than I feel like they did for most of them. All right, that's probably my answer. All right, back to you, Cody.
Thank you. I want to bring it over to Joe. What movie made you laugh the hardest?
All right, so, funnily enough, the hardest a movie has made me laugh is not my favorite comedy of all time. As much as I love The Naked Gun, as much as I love Caddyshack, as much as I love Spaceballs, it's not the movie that's made me laugh the hardest. And those movies make me laugh pretty hard, but I'm going to set the scene for you as far as movies that have made me laugh the hardest. So, the year is 2010, and then 13, 14-year-old Joe buys a ticket to a movie that had opened up that weekend at his local dollar theater. It had been out for a while, but it was his first time seeing it. And it was a lot more packed than usual at this local dollar theater for this comedy movie. And about maybe 15, 20 minutes into the movie, Two characters run up to the roof. They are chasing bad guys. These two actors are played by Samuel L. Jackson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They see them zip line and cut the zip. These guys cut the zip line and they get away. And then Sam Jackson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson look at each other. You know what I'm thinking? Aim for the bushes. They jump off the building. There are no bushes in sight. It's just this long shot of them falling to the ground and then crash. If you do not know what movie that is from, that movie is from the Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg comedy, The Other Guys. One of the most distinct memories I have with that movie was being in a relatively packed theater and seeing that scene for the first time with everyone who's also seeing that scene for the first time and losing their shit. It took maybe 5 minutes for everyone to actually calm down from that scene. Easily the hardest I've ever laughed at a movie. The movie itself, it doesn't really hold up. That scene holds up very well, but the rest of it doesn't hold up particularly the best. If I had another option, I'd say, well, honestly, any movie that I've seen high for the most part would qualify for this list. Top contenders being Cat in the Hat and Inspector Gadget. Great movies to watch while high. But that's my pick, is the 2010 movie The Other Guys. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you. And I will watch Cat in the Hat while I'm high, because there's no other way to watch that movie.
Dude,
Tim.
that movie's fucking incredible while high. That's all I'll say.
Tim.
So yeah, this is a tricky question because, like Joe kind of alluded to, this is a different question from what's your favorite comedy. Like, Office Space is probably one of my favorite comedies, maybe not the one that's made me laugh the hardest. If you asked me this question as a teenager, I might say Anchorman, because I remember going to see that in the theater with my family, and all of us just cracking the fuck up to that movie. But I don't know if that's necessarily the hardest I've laughed at a movie ever, but I do have two recent stories that I'd like to bring up, and both of them involve me being high as balls. The first one was me and Tanner went to see a movie called Jason X at the Arcade movie theater in the year 2024, and there's a moment in that movie where they reference the game of hockey being made illegal in the year 2024, and the whole audience instinctively starts cheering and applauding. And it's the most united I've ever felt at any point in my life with a room full of strangers. And the second story, which is actually much more recent, this past weekend I got to hang out with an old friend. We watched a couple movies together, and one of those movies was the 1982 horror movie Night Beast. And Night Beast is just like a very, very cheesy, cheap-ass horror movie, and on its face doesn't necessarily look any different from a lot of other movies of its ilk. But there's just something about the awkward cinematography and editing, the bad acting, and just the general construction of the movie, the sex scene that gives the room a run for its money. All these things come together to make something that is just perfect for riffing with a friend, especially while intoxicated. So that was just an absolute blast watching that movie. Laughed very hard. And if you, too, would like to have a good time laughing and riffing on something with a friend, can't recommend Night Beast enough. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you. We'll have to give that a try. Tanner, it's your turn.
Come and see. I'm kidding. That's a very depressing war movie for the audience that didn't get that joke. I should have said Schindler's List. That probably would have played better. Anyway, much like these guys, the answer to what movies made me laugh the hardest is different from my favorite comedy, because my favorite comedy of all time would probably be something like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or maybe His Girl Friday, if we want to talk about my favorite comedy. But if you want to talk about a movie that's made me laugh the hardest, a movie that has me in stitches, rolling around on the floor, losing my fucking mind, having trouble breathing, I'm laughing so hard. It's probably gonna be the oldest movie any of us pick, unless Cody really blows my mind.
No.
The movie I'm picking is from 1933.
Oh, you fucking weirdo boomer.
It's directed by Leo McCarey. And
Look
it
at
stars,
this Silent Generation motherfucker over here.
And it stars four brothers that share the same last name. I am talking, of course, about the Marx Brothers 1933 classic Duck Soup. You want to talk about a movie that makes me laugh? Like, that movie is so funny that I have trouble remembering gags because it's like I laugh so hard, oxygen gets deprived from my brain, and I like have trouble remembering what happened. I kind of want to rewatch Duck Soup. Like, actually,
There he goes.
Get back here. I command
He
thee.
goes again.
We must finish. We haven't even started the
Racing
matinee.
through my brain, and I just can't say.
Get on with it, Tanner.
I love
Yes,
Duck Soup.
Yes,
It's so
get
goddamn
on with
funny.
it.
It's so goddamn funny. Duck Soup is hilarious. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you. You know, part of me really wanted to just start throwing older movies like, yeah, Charlie Chaplin's The Circus, because I'm cooler than you, Tanner, but no.
I could have picked City Lights. I think City Lights is really funny.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, funniest movie that's made me laugh the hardest. I mean, we all know the answer is Mac and Me. Like, let's not spin ourselves here.
It's his all-time favorite movie as well.
It's of course, but I'm not going to bring that up because I think that any discussion of that movie should be saved for another day, another episode maybe. So I'll go with a different movie. In fact, funny enough, another Monty Python movie, Monty Python and the Life of Brian. And it might be due to the fact that I was in a very fun environment. So I have a lot of online friends. We all met up. We went to a convention called Too Many Games. Very fun time. We also all brought our own movies. Yes, I did bring Mac and Me, in case you're wondering. And my good buddy, shout out to my good friend person guy, because I'll bring him up later. He brought the movie Monty Python and the Life of Brian. I don't know why I'm pointing this isn't it. And yeah, I had a nice heart chunk. I think the funniest part of that movie was either the ending where they're just singing a cheerful song as they're getting crucified, or just the random scene where like an alien just picks up Brian and they just go on a fucking space adventure for a bit. That was probably the funniest scene of the movie there. But yeah, Life of Brian is my answer. But we're not talking about Life of Brian. We're talking about Holy Grail.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
I'm going to throw it over to Tim. What are your thoughts on Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yeah, this is a movie that is very funny. I've seen it a handful of times. Like it's not a movie I've watched like over and over again, but there's certain bits from it that definitely stick in my brain a lot. Largely because a lot of them are just so ingrained in pop culture. Like we are the knights who sing. That's a classic bit. I love when they come back and they have the long new name and one of the guys just still goes Nick. That's a good bit. The Black Knight getting chopped to bits and just going, it's a flesh wound. We'll call it a draw. That's a classic bit. A lot of really funny bits. The Frenchman is a very funny character. One of his taunts that sticks in my mind is him going, "I will fart in your general direction," which is something that I think my cat says to me and my fiance every day. Yeah, a lot of funny stuff. Hard to talk about like too in depth because it's just basically a string of very funny bits. A thoroughly enjoyable movie, though. Just a really fun time. I think the first time I watched this was like either late high school or fresh out of college, but it was a movie I was aware of for a long time. I did get to see this at the Tivoli in their Real Late series when I was in college, which was fun. Had a pretty good crowd for that. I distinctly remember when the one guy fires the arrow with the note out of the window. Like, that got a big laugh. Yeah, a lot of good bits with this movie. I have passing familiarity with Arthurian stuff, which I don't think necessarily helps with this movie. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, Arthur, Lancelot, I know those guys. That's about it. Yeah, but yeah, it's just a good comedy, and certainly like one of the benchmarks of like classic comedy. So definitely worth talking about, if only for that reason. It's just such a significant comedy movie, and it's a very funny movie. If you haven't seen it somehow, it's on several streaming services. Go stream
It's free on Tubi.
Yeah. Watch it with ads on Tubi. Back to you, Cody.
Yeah, Tubi's fucking awesome, by the way. That's the only streaming service I ever use. But that's not important. Joe, what are your thoughts on Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
All right, so I mean, I was making fun of Tanner about being the boomer in this episode earlier. And I'm gonna give everyone this opportunity because I'm painting a target on my chest. I'm gonna be this guy. But let me get my positive critiques out of the way first. And I want to emphasize this very clearly. I like this movie a lot. I think it is very funny. I understand its cultural significance, and I appreciate its cultural significance. There's a lot of great stuff in this. In fact, I'm going to say this. Maybe the first 35 minutes of this movie is just a string of just iconic bit after iconic bit after iconic bit. The coconut discussion. Bring out your dead. I'm not dead. All that shit. The fucking Black Knight. The French taunting. Knights of the Round Table. The song. Like, string of iconic scenes throughout, like, that opening. And it's, like, the peak of the movie. And here's where I'm gonna be that guy. The first 35 minutes of this movie, it peaks so hard that I think the rest of the movie, while still pretty funny, it has a hard time reaching those peaks. And I'll say this too, it doesn't necessarily hurt the movie for me, but it doesn't help. Man, oh man, is this movie, like, fucking overquoted and overutilized in pop culture. It slightly hurts repeat viewings because I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna hear this, like, at some point this week. Why bother watching the movie? I think that's part of the reason why I don't really rewatch it that often. It's especially quoted by people who were theater kids. This is a very theater kid movie, so much so that they fucking made a Broadway musical out of this movie where they also take the Life of Brian song and put it into basically this story.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so there's a Monty Python musical called Spamalot. That's basically the story of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The Lady of the Lake is actually an important character in that story. She's only, like, mentioned in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they, no joke, sing the Always Look on the Bright Side of Life song at one point. And it's it's Patsy trying to cheer up King Arthur because they can't find the Holy Grail.
That's so weird.
It's very weird. But
Doesn't make sense.
Good Broadway musical too. I mean, if you like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you will like Monty Python Spamalot. It's basically the same thing, but with more musical numbers. Otherwise, I would say this is a good movie, despite my. Let's be real, they are nitpicks. They are flat out fucking nitpicks that really do not affect the movie whatsoever. It's still a really funny movie. The highlight for me is the historian getting killed. It's maybe the funniest, just kind of out of nowhere thing in the movie. And then they just kind of keep building on the joke to the point where that whole subplot basically like undermines the ending of the movie, which is fucking hilarious. Yeah. I'm gonna just ramble on if I keep talking, so I'm just gonna end it with movie good and give it back to Cody. Back to you, Cody.
Thanks. I'm curious. You can do a simple yes or no. Do you think the movie's overrated?
No, I wouldn't say the movie's overrated. I would say overquoted, overutilized.
Yeah,
Strongly
especially since you don't
agree.
hear much of the other two movies in comparison. I kind of agree with you on that one. Tanner, thoughts on Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Well, I'm glad you asked me, because, you know, I have a lot of interesting thoughts about this movie that are really varied and lengthy. Number one, I don't think I've ever identified more with a character in a movie more than the dentist guy at the beginning movie that won't shut the fuck up about class and is trying to start an syndicalist society. That guy is me. That guy is 100% me. Join a union right fucking now. If you don't have one, start one. Maybe not you, Cody, because since they could kill you.
I am a monarchy now.
Yeah, that's true. Start a king union.
True genius.
King Cody, Burger King, the King of Saudi Arabia. Got a
That's all you need.
real roster there.
That's the trilogy right there.
That's what it's all about.
Now, where does King Candy fly in all of this?
I don't like that motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think he's disqualified, unfortunately, due to
Yeah.
canonically being dead.
Yeah. Also stolen. Is there like a stolen valor but for royalty? Is it
Well,
that shit?
You get right down to it. I think all
Yeah.
royalty's kind of stolen valor.
But this isn't the fucking
True.
Wreck-It Ralph episode. Talk about Monty Python.
There's a lot of inbreeding going on in royalty. If you think about it. What's going on?
No
with
comment.
that?
Hot takes.
No comment.
What's up with that?
No comment.
Inbreeding. What's up with it? That's
Yeah,
just
Cody.
the quote. That's just the quote of the episode. Inbreeding. What's up
And
with it?
end the podcast right here.
That's the first highlight.
Get on with it.
Raid is not for this. Anyway,
Yes, get on with
Get on
it.
with
I wanted to make the quote. That's all opportunity.
We're gonna do it like 5
I
more
watched
times.
this yesterday. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. This is in my favorite movies list. Terry Gilliam is a brilliant director of comedy, though respect must also be given to Terry Jones, who did co-direct the movie. But you know, Terry Gilliam went on to make like Brazil and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and arguably more interesting movies, though not as entertaining movies as this one. It's just a mile-a-minute gag fest. It doesn't matter if a joke lands because they're telling another joke a minute later. But thankfully, most of the jokes land. Like I said, my favorite gag of the movie is the dentist guy that's the anarcho-syndicalist. Because again, that guy is me. But that one's like sandwiched between the coconut gag, which is fucking incredible, and then like the witch burning trial gags shit, which is also hilarious. Basically, watch this movie, and if you don't laugh at least once, that's a shame. I think the really interesting thing about this movie, though, this most recent watching, I kind of got focused on the structure of the movie for some reason. And I gotta say, there isn't one, which is really interesting considering how much it works as a coherent whole. If you just watch it, it's kind of just a series of vaguely related sketches. But
Yeah.
there's enough of a through line there that it really works. And again, all the sketches are so incredible that you can't help but laugh your ass off. You can definitely tell this was the Monty Python's gang first attempt at a movie, though, because of that. But at the same time, I don't think they made a movie as funny as this one. And I like Life of Brian and all those other Monty Python movies, but nothing makes me laugh as hard as this one. And there's so many iconic gags, you know. Tim alluded to it. My name is Tim. The bridge troll gag shit is hilarious. Like right off the bat with the coconuts. You're laughing your No, if you want to talk about right off the bat, the fucking subtitles.
Yeah.
The fucking subtitle gag is so good.
We have the
Can I be
majestic
honest?
moose.
I genuinely, like, when I was, like, watching it, I thought my subtitles were just fucked up, so I kept trying to, like, fix it until I started reading the subtitles. I was like, oh, these fuckers.
No, the
These-
same thing happened to me because I forget about it every time.
That might be the one joke that actually like is funnier, like watching it today, you know, on modern streaming services
definitely.
than in the theater.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, what the fuck's wrong with my subtitles? Or why are subtitles on? You know what I mean? You see, this especially hit for me because I watched Life of Brian yesterday, and earlier that same day, I watched the season finale of The Rehearsal. I'm not spoiling that. I'm only bringing that up because when I started watching it, for some reason, I had to restart my TV because even though the settings were set to English, I kept getting Russian subtitles, and I had to restart my TV to fix it. So at first, I thought, motherfucker, is this happening again? And then I remembered it's a gag. But it hit me especially hard because I already had an error with subtitles earlier that same day where, like, the subtitles refused to work. But honestly, it's hard to say much about this movie other than it's just really, really funny. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. And again, structurally, it's impressive how much this works as a movie considering the structure is, like, basically non-existent. It's kind of fascinating in that regard. And it may be might be a blueprint to look at if you audience member are interested in making some type of feature of yourself, but you're struggling to actually write a full story. Just write a bunch of vaguely related stories and then get some of the funniest people that have ever lived in the room to help you write the through line. That's all you have to do.
Simple.
You can leave out the transphobia though. Not that this movie's transphobic. I think we had to acknowledge at some point that
the people.
a lot of people in Monty Python have well, they're British, so I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Boo! See, that's the problem. Boo!
Yeah, I'm sorry you guys had to find out this way. This movie's British. Back to you, Cody.
Python and Turf Island.
Rain,
That's being made any day now, and it's gonna have.
Rain, you gotta save us here.
Graham
What are your
Linekum
thoughts?
guy, whatever his name.
Damn, I didn't know we were doing bad, but but as you say, my lord, yeah, there's a different ways you could classify comedies. I think one of the most interesting for me is for like the past like 15-20 years, pretty much every studio comedy is like half spending half its time trying to like bring the yucks, but then also half the time trying to be at least like a light dramatic story. See, again, literally like almost every studio comedy from the past 15-20 years. And then but other than I would say other than that, you don't really see it as much these days anymore, but movies where, you know, they treat the story as just like a framework just to deliver an hour and a half of really making someone laugh a lot and being very clever and all that. Usually, my go-to example, at least, you know, for like mainstream, it would be like Step Brothers, Anchorman. I think those are probably, you know, good examples of just where it's like, hey, we're going to be funny.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I guess, and technically there is a plot, but I think this is probably like, this goes even further than that, where it's like Darren was saying, it's really just like the bare minimum of the story, and like I like how, like, I don't know, it's something that could, if done differently, or maybe if it was done today, maybe because it was back in the 70s, so it felt more novel back then, but just like how almost like sarcastically it was made in a way where it's just like oh yeah, we gotta have these story beats or whatever, you know, just, but, and also just not even taking like just like what little story there is seriously, like having characters who show up later, like the whole like get on with it, the joke I was running into the ground, just like having characters who haven't even shown up yet, doing it, the bit with like the of course the most, arguably one of the most iconic bits in the movie, the coconuts. Obviously it's also a cost saving measure, like a lot of this like who cares about the story humor of the movie is kind of rooted in the budget of that. I don't want to remember too many details, but I know this was like a rough production. The coconuts, by the way, is because it was cheaper than actual horses. But hey, great examples of
it's one of the best jokes of the movie.
Yeah, great. This is probably like one of the best blueprints if you're trying to make a comedy for like low budget. As for like what I think of the movie, like Joe, I think the biggest the biggest downside this movie has going for it is like just existing in pop culture. You've already heard like half the jokes and ad nauseum. I will say, yeah, definitely a popular one with theater kids. Although I would say, I don't know. It seems whenever I think of like a Monty Python and Holy Grail fan, I definitely think of like nerdy white boys. That's definitely like geeky kids. I feel like that when I think of like the stereotypical Monty, like that's who I would think of. But theater kids definitely like a close second. And all right, thoughts on the actual movie. I had a good point, and something I thought was cool to say. It's escaping my mind. Oh yeah, I didn't. This is my second time watching this. The first time I watched it was in middle school during history class about the Middle Ages. I don't know why. I think it was just one of those like, sometimes
historically
they'll show
movies, accurate Monty Python.
They'll show movies sometimes stuff like Hotel Rwanda where it's like, hey, we're actually going to hopefully learn something about the subject. And then there's movies like this where it's like, well, it's technically part of the subject. I don't know. We just need to relax.
It was teachers hungover day.
Yes, exactly. But I got to see all the movie except for the part, the bit where they go to the nunnery, or I guess it's the nunnery. The bit with all the women, that whole segment. That was actually my first time watching it because the teacher like skipped that scene when I watched it in middle school. I wonder why. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's hard to talk about comedies because it's kind of hard not to just be like, so then they did this joke, and then they did this joke, and then they did that joke. But I mean, hey, these guys, y'all did a great job, establishing all that stuff. Also my second piece of British humor ever, other than like Wallace and Gromit and the Were-Rabbit. We did not grow up with much British comedy. It was not valued in my household growing up. It was great, getting a taste of that, and also great rewatching it. Also great, after watching this, I guess like half the people here at least, I was like, I should rewatch Life of Brian, which I don't know if it's funnier necessarily, but it definitely, I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit more. And I think in large part because it's not the jokes in that aren't done to death. They aren't all ruined by pop culture osmosis like it is with Monty Python a bit. I don't know, great time. I don't know if I'd call it a favorite of mine, but I was smiling the whole time. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you. Now it's my turn, and this is a very exciting episode for me because it's been a long time since I've got to talk a movie that's in my top 10. I think the last time I did that was Truman Show back in God knows when.
You weren't even a part of the team.
Wasn't even a part of the team. I mean, we talked about 05 King Kong, which is a remake of my favorite movie, and then we talked about Quick and the Dead last episode, which is, director made Evil Dead 2, which is also one of my favorite movies, which you guys already did an episode on. So, we're talking about a movie I'm actually a very big fan of. I saw this, as you should see, the best way to watch movies, in Discord. I was in a group chat with the homies, same my good buddy person. He introduced me to this movie, and we just watched it. And I knew about the movie. There was always pop culture things. A lot of games that I played always had pop culture. I mean, Holy Hand Grenade. I'm surprised that didn't get brought up yet. That's in the Worms franchise, very big like weapon in that. The Evil Rabbit. That's in like Minecraft and Terraria. I think it's like not a thing in Minecraft anymore, but there was one more. Tim. Tim is actually an enemy in Terraria. So, I always knew about the jokes, but I've never seen them actually, like, told. So it was very fun to go through all these little jokes and to learn all the new ones. And to have somebody who knew everything got to, like, be all, like, snickery and be like, oh, we just wait for it. I think it adds to the little experience that we had. I love this movie because it feels like it's like written by like an asshole. Where it's just like they're told they gotta like make a movie. It's like, oh, I'll make a fucking movie, all right. We're gonna go to this place, but oh, just you fucking wait. I love that it's like someone like wrote like a fucking D&D session, but like in the 70s. I absolutely love the way it's told, where it's like, you know, it is a coherent, generic story, beginning, middle, and end that has like a path. It's not even like super linear because like they, you know, in the middle they all like split up, do their own thing, and then they come back together. So it's like there's some dynamics here and there, but like. Everything is just a joke, and everything, in my opinion, just like lands. I'm not gonna say like it always like makes me like oh like go crazy laughing, but like I think every joke is well executed to where it's like I think anyone would find like at least one of those jokes funny, like from beginning to end. Like I don't even, because you guys are mentioned so many jokes. You guys didn't mention a lot of the jokes in the latter half of the movie, which I would argue has the funnier jokes. I'm a little in disagreement with Joe. I think a lot of the best jokes are actually at the later half because, you know, you have the bridge scene, you have the Tim, you have the intermission, which is honestly I think the funniest part, especially when you don't expect it. There's the big beast that chases them, and then suddenly the animator has a heart attack, and then the beast just stops getting drawn. I love all the animation, little animation bits too. Those are probably my favorite part of the movie. I love that it's not just like, oh, this is a medieval comedy. It's a very stylized medieval comedy that's very much like, you can't mistake this for anything other than Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And that's what I think sets it apart. Because, like, honestly, I think a lot of comedies, like, and I think Rein mentioned this, like, want to tell, like, an actual story. But then it's like, oh, it's a comedy. We got to have wacky scenarios. No, they don't really give a shit. It's like, yeah, it's Arthur, but we're just going to be funny as fuck. And I think that adds to the movie because they, like, take the bits as far as they can. And I think that adds to it. Like, the witch scene, it's just so funny that, like, he goes through this whole monologue about comparing like a witch to wood, and he just has a giant fucking scale ready, as if this happens like all the time. This is just a regular occurrence for them. And just like other things where like, yeah, like the Frenchmen just throwing every animal they got over them, and they just gotta scream. Like every bit's like so iconic. Like there's not a single, I don't think there's a single bit that's not like instantly recognizable to this movie. And I love a lot of the jokes actually like progress. It's not just a one and done. There's like scene 24. You guys remember scene 24? The guy from scene 24. Don't forget him. He's important. Yeah, he just shows up later at the bridge, and they specifically mentioned that it's scene 24. I'm gonna assume it's actually scene 24 in the script, but it'd be really funny if it wasn't for some reason. But and then there's the historian that gets killed suddenly. He just shows up and then he gets killed, and then that like whole investigation gets followed through to the point where it just interrupts the climactic finale. And then the movie just like ends. I remember when I watched this, like it cuts and then it's like the black screen, and we're like all just sitting there like waiting, and he's just like, my friend's just laughing his ass off because we're all just waiting for like something to happen and nothing's happening. So we just sat there for 3 minutes at a black screen. Funniest fucking way to end a movie there. I love every little bit of this movie. There was another. It's super cool, but yeah, it does get like overquoted. I do agree, but like I also am the same person who will overquote it, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't even think about it. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna quote Monty Python. Sometimes I'll be scared, I'm like, run away, like that's just how I say it. And like other, you know, a lot of the Black Knight lines, like I'm invincible. I love that. That's my favorite line. And then sometimes when it's just like something like minor, like mildly good happens, I'll just say, and there was much rejoice. Yay. Like, just, there's so many lines that I quote without even realizing. And I think that's the best. A really good movie gets you not just to quote it, but basically just make it part of your vocabulary. I think that's when a movie, like, really gets you. But, yeah, I mean, you guys also kind of all said what I was going to say, you know, thank you. But, this movie is fucking awesome, and I'll happily watch it over and over and over again. And that's what I gotta say for now. But stay tuned, we have more to say after intermission! Alright, thank you for listening to my first decree that we're going to watch movies only I like. So remember, next episode is going to be Metropolis from 1927. Appreciate it. My second decree is that everyone listening, all of you need to get a movie palette. Tanner, what is your movie palette?
Punch Drunk Love.
Awesome. Tim, what is your movie palette?
Mandy.
Awesome. And here's mine. I don't have one yet. I will get one. I'm saving for a special occasion. But you can get one right now. You can get Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Monty Python and the Life of Brian, Monty Python and the Meaning Life, or something that's not British. Who knows? But before you do, make sure you type in the code SQUAD15 on checkout, and that is moviepalette.com. Back to the podcast. The matinee. Whatever.
Damn.
All right.
I have something I'd like to bring up.
Yeah? Take it away.
I just want to talk about, we all talked about how, like, wow, this is a great way to do filmmaking on a low budget because of just how it's designed. I also think it's worth keeping in mind. You guys know how this movie got its funding, right?
I don't.
Well, in part, this movie has a budget because of Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh.
And also other Led Zeppelin albums, Genesis albums. Those three bands all contributed heavily to the movie's budget. As a matter of fact, when Pink Floyd was recording The Dark Side of the Moon, they would stop recording sessions just to watch Monty Python's Flying Circus. They were all gigantic fans of Monty Python, so those three British bands are a big reason why this movie exists. So guys, if you want to make a feature film, just get Pink Floyd to record one of the greatest albums ever made and make them give you some of the money.
Well, they did the
Not
first
gonna do
one
that
already,
anymore.
so we're halfway there.
Yeah, we just need to convince Pink Floyd to give us their royalty checks.
There we go.
Yeah?
You know, it's genuinely funny that Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin contributed money to this movie. When, man, oh man, this movie looks fucking cheap a lot of the time. They don't even ride horses. Like, that's how fucking cheap this movie is.
I'm looking up the budget. I'm looking up the budget.
Yeah.
It wasn't high.
There is a funny thing I noticed, and I don't know if this is just the Blu-ray or this is it. The thing is, the funny thing with Monty Python, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but sometimes, like, the quality of the footage goes from, like, really good to just really fucking bad. And I genuinely can't tell if that's Monty Python being funny or if it's just bad production. I genuinely do not know.
I know what you're talking about, too, because I've also noticed things like
It
that.
just happens randomly.
There's some
there's like
very soft shots.
There's some weird color timing around the second time they go to see The Knights Who Say Knee, where it's just like the color grading of that specific scene. It looks one way in one scene, and then it looks completely different in another.
It's all over the place. But again, I can't tell if it's like if it's like production issues or it's a happy accident basically. It just kind of works out because
All
it's funny.
fellas,
how
I'm
much
getting
is-
to
how
the
much
bottom of it. So, God damn it. This
not
movie,
got to the bottom.
no, this movie cost 282,000 British pounds in 1975. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's a little over 2 million pounds. Now I know what you're thinking. I don't know how much a fucking pound is. Why do you think that means anything to me? Which is fair. It is a fair complaint.
I know it's more than
So-
$1.
I am popping it in. That rounds out to about $2.95 million in today's money.
So yeah, pretty
That-
low budget for a for a feature.
That does mean if you did win the tournament in Quick of the Dead, you could have produced your own Monty Python.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to say that I found the Bank of England's inflation calculator to do that inflation calculation. The United States Consumer Bureau Index inflation calendar only goes back to 1913. Motherfucker, the British inflation calculator goes all the way back to 1209.
Jeez. Almost as old as the time period. Of the movie.
Almost as old as Joe.
Nine.
I mean, to be fair,
Just the fucking
to be fair, the
just the
US
fucking boomer who picked fucking duck soup as
to
their
be fair, the
answer,
U.S.
you
wasn't around in
motherfucker.
1209, so
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a United States. It's just crazy because, like, I click on it and it's like, yeah, check out how inflation is handled since 1209. 1 pound in 1209 is the equivalent to almost 2,000 pounds today.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I should have been investing.
Yeah, you're too busy. Nothing.
I don't know if I've only traced one branch of my lineage that far.
I was reading the trivia, and it says the theatrical release contains 527 jokes. How do you count jokes?
How do you count jokes? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Jokes are
There's
quantifiable.
What's a quantifiable joke? Including 42 in the opening credits. I don't think that's true. I don't think
You're just making shit up. They're lying. Whoever you gotta understand, IMDb trivia is a lot of fun, but they do not ask for sources.
Source, trust me.
So I'll read things in there and be like, wow, that must be true. And then I'll try to Google it, and Google will be just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
I'd put something about that in the Kill Bill episode, because I was reading the Kill Bill trivia, and for volume 1 it said kill count 95, and I was like, that's not accurate. They just put the crazy 88 as 88 and then added whatever other kills were in the movie. That's
a few more because I felt like it.
well, because
And then she doesn't even.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't even kill most of the crazy.
she
88.
doesn't kill all the crazy 88, and there aren't actually 88 of them. They just call themselves that because it sounds cool. So who fucking knows how many kills are in that movie? But yeah, no, IMDb trivia is spotty sometimes.
There might be more kills in this movie, dude. It's a bloodbath.
I was gonna bring that up. This movie, like even as cheap as it sometimes looks, this movie is fucking violent as shit.
Michael Palin characters die like 12 times alone.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because they do reuse. I remember I saw like the whole scene where they're all like murdering the entire like for like the wedding, and I'm just over here like, what's the rating again?
It's PG.
Oh, PG. Oh yeah. I guess back when
like-
PG actually meant fucking something.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you watch the movie and the Black Knight's blood is just wildly spraying out of his armholes.
to like a
And it's
ridiculous amount, but it's just like
And it's like only some parental guidance.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair,
I mean,
I feel like the gore in this movie is just so silly and over the top.
yeah, it's pretty comical and very mild, but it's still funny to be
Yeah.
like, you know, like a PG movie now to
Yeah.
a PG movie then, where it's like, dude, he just shoves that fucking sword in his like face, and I'm like, damn, dude.
This would
I'm glad my mom's here with me.
this would
Otherwise, I'd be screwed.
this would at minimum be PG-13 now.
Nowadays, oh, absolutely.
Maybe R.
I think the Black Knight scene might make it R.
Maybe.
Honestly.
Yes,
I know
I-
it's not that I know it's actually like
No, wait,
to us
they
we're
said-
like, oh, it's so silly, but like that much blood gets you an R no matter what.
Nah, hold on. They said bastard at least like 5 times. It might be an R, guys.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Again, like obviously this movie, a kid, not a young kid, but like a 13-year-old, 12-year-old could watch this and be fine. But like it would absolutely get an R nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm thinking back to like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which
Oh yeah. What was that?
That was-
that
that was
PG?
PG-13.
Or was that PG-13? Yeah.
Was
I
there a
remember-
lot of
yeah.
explicit blood?
there's a fair
No.
bit.
Well,
You do see
Well, that-
a giant
that-
eye demon get its fucking eye.
I was gonna
boards.
say
was
that
crazy.
movie starts out with a giant eye getting stabbed through.
Yeah, I took
that's
Yeah,
my
but
way
it's
like.
not a person. It's the fact that it's a person that is
It was
bleeding
pretty
that
graphic.
matters.
I mean,
Do we even know if there's a
got
person under that night mask?
Yeah, we don't ever see his face.
That's fair. I do want to keep in mind though, like when I'm talking about this guy, the first Avengers movie, like 2012 Avengers, that movie almost got an R rating because of
Crazy.
sound effects when Phil Coulson got stabbed.
That was going to be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Or another one, The Village, 2005. There's an iconic stabbing scene in that movie where there's no stabbing sound effect. Now, that winds up working in the movie's strength, but the reason there's not a stabbing sound effect is because they gave them an R for it. It is so easy to get an R
That's
rating,
so
and I honestly
weird.
think I know, but I think that just the amount of blood just squirting out like that, even if it's silly and cartoony, it would get an R now.
Yeah, kind of gives a vibe of like 2000s Newgrounds animations and shit, where
Yeah.
they're just like pouring.
That
like,
Half
pools
of
blood.
Newgrounds animations would get an NC-17 rating if attempted to get a theatrical release. Let's be honest.
Okay,
Speaking of Newgrounds, though, that does bring up something that I wanted to touch on, which is that, like, there has sort of been this thing of, like, in recent years, people, shitting on LOL XD random humor. And I think that a lot of that is maybe partially responsible for why every comedy has to be a dramedy now. Like, we can't just have a silly movie anymore, which is unfortunate, because, like, you get gems like this when you can just be full silly.
Yeah.
Like, what was the last studio comedy, big studio comedy that was just, like, pure jokes, other than, like, an Anchorman 2 or a Zoolander 2? Hangover?
Even that is kind of dramatic.
Anchorman 2 probably is the last one.
Successful, I would
Spy?
probably say that. Maybe Spy.
Spy is still
Unsuccessful. Unsuccessful.
We are
I would
getting
probably
a new Naked
say
Gun, so maybe. You don't know.
maybe.
Well, there's gonna be a serious plot point in the Naked Gun that he can't maintain an erection, but like it's a serious plot point.
Well, I was about to bring up, if we're talking like studio comedies, the last one to be made that was unsuccessful, probably Tag, starring Ed Helms.
That was almost like a quasi-action movie, though. Like the way they shot the Tag sequences were like an action movie.
I know it's a Roku channel movie, but are we considering Weird the Al Yankovic story a studio comedy?
I mean, it would be. Is it pure comedy? Probably.
Yeah.
It is 100% pure comedy.
But
Like, even
I
the
watched
dramatic scenes are taken as a joke.
That's like a rare anomaly now, though.
I think the fact
Like
that
Weird
that's
Al.
that's not like a big studio comedy is the reason why. It's just like general audiences, they don't like goofy anymore. They only like sarcastic.
Well, humor's so hard to like nail down nowadays, especially since like, you know, given the internet and everything, like what is humor? Like have you like scrolled on the internet for more than 5 minutes? Like humor is so fucking weird and subjective that it's hard to like be like, all right, let's make a big $1 billion movie. We gotta make it funny. What's funny?
Studios can't keep track
general
of,
audiences, you suck.
Studios can't keep track of like TikToks and meme trends.
And when they try to, it's bad, and we make fun of them for that.
Yeah.
And that's why so to everyone watching, movies aren't funny more, and it's your fault.
It's all your fault. You should feel ashamed of yourself.
Third decree, go watch funny movies.
And go to your room. You're grounded for the rest of the night. No dessert for you. Shame on you.
That's not my decree, but I think it's funny, so we're gonna go with it.
Jackass forever.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on now.
Okay.
Wait, he's got a point.
He does have a point.
I had to really stew on that for a minute, but then it hit me.
I told Tanner this before. I think comedy in movies is kind of like stealth mechanics in video games, where in the AAA space / blockbuster big studio space, basically every like mainstream game has like stealth elements, but you'll be hard pressed to find games where like stealth is like is everything, like where it's the core mechanic. And then with movies it's the same way, where like every MC movie is like, you know, is action movie first, comedy second, and like just like pretty much every blockbuster now I think about it, like it'd be hard. Most blockbusters are like partial comedies, not super dour
unless
the whole
it's
time.
like super fucking serious.
Like the only one in recent memory I could think of that was a blockbuster that wasn't like also a comedy was Dune Part 2. And I'm not saying that movie didn't make me laugh a couple times. It did. But like it was a small handful of laughs relative to the runtime. You know what I mean?
But there were probably like unrelated laughs. Like I laughed at like the new Nosferatu, not because it was funny, just because I saw a giant dick on the screen. That's funny. So I don't count that as humor.
I mean, a line where Willem Dafoe says he's seen something so scary it would make Sir Isaac Newton crawl back into his mother's womb. That's pretty funny.
That's just kind of a banger.
Yeah, and it is Willem Dafoe, so that is fair. I love Monty Python and the Holy Grail, guys. Good movie.
Me too.
Yeah,
good movie.
I like this. You know, for how cheap it is, honestly, the set it kind of helps its favor since it's like an older like styled movie. You know, with like all the set design looks pretty. I mean, I guess set design. I think they just visited a bunch of old fucking places and called it a day, because you know they're British. They can just do that. And it's like, oh wow, this building's 1,000 fucking years old. Let's go there and film, because that's what British people can do. So good on them. We gotta go green screen everything or whatever.
We gotta go shoot shit in the volume.
Why are you shooting anything when you can just use AI?
I want you to kill yourself.
Kill him. Kill him.
Boo.
I want you to kill yourself. I can't do it. I can't recreate it. It's impossible.
It's not in your heart anymore.
Roll the clip.
Yeah, we have to talk about how great Freddy Got Fingered is to enact that anger in Tanner.
All right, I think we're losing the plot. Are we ready to wrap things up here?
Yeah.
My little subjects.
All
right.
Mr. Tanner.
Well, then I decree that we are going to wrap things up. Tim, what are your final thoughts?
Yep, it's a good time. Everything we've said rings true. It's just a very funny, enthralling hour and 30 minutes or so. It's you've probably heard most of the jokes, even if you haven't seen the movie, but with the added context of the movie, it's even funnier. Go check it out. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you. Joe, what are your final thoughts?
Movie, despite it being overquoted and overplayed, movie's still good. Very funny movie. Perhaps peaks a little bit too early, but yeah, I still like it. I still find it fun. If you've somehow never seen this movie, do yourself a favor, at least watch it once.
Again, it is free on Tubi. You have no excuse.
Yeah, you owe it to yourself to at least watch it once. Other than that, movie good. It's your fault that big studio comedies don't exist anymore, and it's also your fault that AI is taking over the industry, and you ought to feel ashamed of yourself. Back to you, Cody.
Yes, watch it and know that you'll never get a movie like this again. That's how you should weep. Wait. Am I about to see God come from the sky over there?
What is Tanner doing?
Oh my God!
This episode's about to be on Live Leak.
He's got a noose. Oh.
Spider-Man, what are your thoughts on Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Hey guys, I'm Spider-Man. I fucking love Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Makes me laugh a lot. Great picture. Terry Gilliam is problematic. Back to you, Cody.
Right?
That's very fitting, actually, because like Monty Python, the Holy Grail is definitely one of Peter Parker's favorite movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is. I can confirm because Peter's a friend of mine.
Right.
Yes.
Yours. What are your thoughts? Final thoughts.
The British are responsible for many of the worst atrocities to happen in human history, but they sure are funny too.
Beans on toast, number one.
Not the atrocities, but the people who did. British people, they're pretty funny. You can't deny that. Back to you, Cody.
All right, my final thoughts. I forgot something important, and I set it up. So on the special features, there's a little like Lego stop motion animation for like the scene where they're all like dancing in Camelot. Who's it made? I want to shout them out. Yeah, it's made by Tim Drage and Tony Miles from Spit Your Face Productions. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. I only wanted to bring this up because in the special features, I don't know if they made it with this or this was just Lego promoting it, but they specifically called out motherfucking Lego Studios.
Let's go.
I think they made this shit with Lego Studios. Because I don't know when we're doing the Lego movie. I want to show it off now. This shit is so cool. People made their goddamn movies with Legos. And that's the coolest fucking thing ever. You know what's the coolest fucking thing ever? Monty Python and the Holy Grail. One of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely not in like the hot, like on the top 10, it's probably on the lower half of the top 10, but it's still high art. And with that, my beautiful subjects, I must depart. You know, being a king and all, you know, I have so much to do. So, Tanner, whoever, you can do the conclusion. Oh, my crown, my beautiful crown. Yeah.
We're overthrowing the king,
gotta,
and we are starting an anarcho-syndicalist society. We are unionizing, and Cody will no longer be in power. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, thank you so much for listening. How about you leave us a review? It helps boost us in the algorithm or something. I don't know. I just work here. And if you are listening, how about you mosey on down over to our Patreon? Where the $5 tier gets you access to commentary tracks. Joe and I just recorded one for one of his favorite movies of all time, Mr. 3000. It's an all right movie. Joe spends most of the time of them watching it looking at IMDb.
Yeah, and bitching
ahead.
about the volume, like I did in this episode.
And the $10 tier gets you access to a shout out. So my Tanner Richard Kraft's mom, Tanya Kraft, thank you so much for contributing. We really appreciate it. And if you are wanting to give us money in a different way, how about you mosey on down over to our merch shop, bombsquadproductions.shop. That's right, they got merch now. We got shirts, we got hats, we got posters, we got a magnet, we got some stickers. Go in, add some stuff to your cart, check out. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a really easy way to support the channel, honestly. You get a shirt and I get an amount of money, so it's great. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. How about you mosey on down over to the comment section below and let me know, what did you think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Is this your favorite Monty Python movie? What's your favorite Terry Gilliam movie? What's your favorite joke in this movie? And finally, will you join my anarcho-syndicalist society? Comment below and let me know. While you're down there, hit the like button so we know how much you like us. Hit the subscribe button so we know how much you love us. Hit the bell icon to know exactly when we upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time when we talk about one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The conclusion to the Mission Impossible saga. Or is it? I don't know. You better tune in to see what we think about it, though, and we'll see you then. This is Spider-Man signing off. Bye!
Bye.
All right, Sonny, that's enough. Just pack that in.